Am.
Sorry, that's distracting. Brothers. It's brothers, yeah.
So our two brothers, our dogs, who you could say are brothers, are deciding now is the best time to fight and roughhouse. So,
Well, they want to get involved.
Ooh, welcome back to Podcast for Your Life, the podcast where we share thoughts from our life for yours. Jam here, and Jason is not with us because we're continuing our series. This is part 2 of 3 on brothers. And so I'm here with my brother, Caleb. Don't be confused because Jason's brother is also named Caleb.
And we are not the same person.
Yes, very different people. In fact, you could say the similarities almost end with the name.
I've yet to meet other Caleb, but I know that he is not me.
And you'll be allowed...
I'm not him.
You'll be allowed to listen to his episode after, if you'd like.
Yes, and can't wait.
But just don't feel any competition.
Gosh, sweating already.
We are recording this at my house, so there's some sounds of dogs and stuff like that, but just bear with us. And let's get started. So Caleb, why don't you introduce yourself and give some context to our brotherhood and age difference and that kind of thing.
Certainly. I'm the oldest of the 3 Robinson brothers. Jam Joshua Robinson is 2.5 years younger than I am, and Judah Robinson is 2 years younger than he is. So I pretty much ran the show, led the tribe, and tried to keep things in line, you know?
Yes, exactly. What's funny, too, about one of the bigger differences about Jason's brother is that Jason's brother Caleb is the youngest in their family, and you are Caleb, are the oldest.
Flipped.
Yeah.
Okay.
So we have some questions we're going to kind of talk through a little bit, and then stories we're going to share. But the first is, what would be your summary definition of what a brother is? How would you define the word and the relationship brother?
I'm not sure what the first definition in Webster's and or the Oxford English Dictionary of brothers is. I have neither in front of me right now. But I would imagine the first would be someone who shares parents, either 2 gentlemen who share mothers and or a father or both, as being a brother.
Yeah, and if I've been understanding what I've been told growing up, we are the first one, at least most accurately the first one. We share parents and stuff like that, right?
Yes.
Okay, cool. That's what I was thinking. That was kind of my assumption, but I don't think I'd ever asked, how we were connected. So,
right. Yeah.
But I'm right.
That's it. That's yeah. Well, I'll make some calls, but I'm pretty sure that's it.
Okay. So one thing that I think your definitions get at is the fact that brothers, even the word as it's kind of used slang wise, but also in the relationship between actual brothers, actual siblings, is there's a mix of being siblings, and there's another level for a lot of brothers, not every brother for sure, but a lot of brothers, there's a level of friendship that's kind of mixed in throughout childhood, instead of just kind of being dealt the same hand and sharing rooms and sharing stuff. There's that element of like friendship that's kind of built in to a lot of brother relationships. How would you describe that? What are your thoughts on that?
I guess I have to think about the fact that going back to you and our brother Judah and I growing up, Josh, we shared a room several times at different houses. We shared toys. We had hand-me-down clothes like most families did. We read the same books. We shared toys. We were into different video games and different things at different times. And that's kind of one way that our brotherhood evolved over the years. However, there are many people out there, unfortunately, who, due to biological reasons or other reasons, don't have that kind of other relationship in their life
right.
of a brother, quote, bro,
yeah.
to share those things with, to fight over things with, to experience and to go through life with.
Yeah, totally. I always remember thinking like I would talk with any of our friends who were only children, and some of them were like, oh, I wish I had brothers and stuff. Some of them didn't ever think about it, but I remember thinking like, what do you do? Like if when you're,
Oh yeah, totally.
you know,
I was. There were many times. I'm the oldest, and so I hit teenage years first, and so there were many times when I thought, "Oh my gosh, why do I have younger brothers? Could I not just be left alone and be an only child?"
yeah,
But reflecting on that, how boring would life have been?
yeah,
If I had been an only child, I that's one reason why I do feel sorry for only children for not having to go through such experiences, be they great or be they chances to learn
yeah,
how to love and interact with others.
yeah. What would you say were some of our childhood norms?
I really can't think of much. We excuse me. None of us really had to compete for friend groups
Yeah.
or on sports teams or anything at the same time.
Yeah.
Fortunately, considering that none of us competed on any sports teams at any times.
Yeah.
Mostly as far as we could help it.
Yeah, and Judah ended up being like the most athletic of us, which was like,
That's
go
true.
him.
He's stuck in the log. It's like, yeah, go for the gold. So I think we luckily skipped out on that one.
Yeah.
On the kind of the sibling tradition rivalry
Yeah.
situation.
I remember some of our games and things that we would do in lieu of like wrestling was
Yeah.
like Caleb would make up games sometimes, like hide and go laka, which was just a game that never existed, but would just be like,
Not only did it never exist, it never ended.
Yeah.
Also, that's the most important point. It's going on to this day.
you were always playing it.
Viewers, keep track at home, please. Yeah.
And we also played a game that was our closest form of wrestling, maybe, was called Samson and Delilah.
Oh, yes.
Do you want to tell people about that? Because I think that was another one that you made up.
Certainly. Well, whether or not you've had been raised in the church, you might have heard the story of Samson and Delilah, and that was Samson, who was very strong and of a godly faith. He was a godly man, but the story of Samson and Delilah that I know most took place on a trampoline in the backyard grove of our house in rural West Texas.
And we, if I remember correctly, basically there was someone we changed out who played what role. Someone would be Samson, someone would be Delilah, and the third brother would be the Philistines.
The Philistines, right?
And basically we would be on the trampoline playing, and then Delilah would, in some form, whoever was Delilah, I guess all you'd have to do is like pretend to cut off
I'm
Samson's
pretty
hair.
sure there was a lot of shrieking involved on the Delilah's part.
Yeah.
But I'm, calling for help. But
Yeah.
I'm not sure.
I think all you had to do was somehow cut off Samson's hair, and then it was that was the cue that the Philistines should show up.
Yeah.
And then somehow we only played that part every time. So Samson, I think, lost every time, and Delilah and the Philistines always won. It was like rock paper scissors, but not fair.
I agree, especially unfair because I believe you and I had an unspoken arrangement into where Judah would always be Delilah, and you and I would switch between Samson and the Philistines. So
I think you're right.
what can you do?
Or we'd be like, Judah, you have to scream more. Delilah screams a lot.
You have to scream, and she has to jump the highest.
Yeah.
Because she's the lady.
Right.
So
right.
yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah,
And she had to make sure the Philistines knew it was time to come. So
Yeah, it was very complicated, but
yeah, those were two games that we played growing up. So not the traditional wrestling, but it was just as competitive, I think.
yeah, if not more so.
Yeah. I remember one thing that was so strange coming out of like when I first moved away from home, and because Caleb went to school in Abilene, and so it was like when I left, it was like even though I saw him less when he was across town, there wasn't that classic separation where it's like, oh, there's this divide where I won't see him for like a semester or whatever.
Right.
And so when I came to college over in the Dallas area from Abilene, I remember having this shock experience where all of a sudden people who thought I was funny and like also understood my sense of humor weren't around anymore
Weren't
because
there.
it was you and Judah.
Yeah.
And so it's like we had this
Yeah.
own subset of our humor that worked great for us.
People that knew our family was crazy and got along with the
Yeah.
bandwagon, and yeah,
And even if we weren't funny, we thought we all were funny. And so then it's like suddenly,
which is all that matters.
Yeah.
Yeah.
suddenly I'm being outside of the situation was so strange. And I remember being like, oh, dang it. Like I totally took this for granted. Of course you adapt, but it's like there's that element of like whenever we're all three of us together, it's like this vocab or this unique language of humor that's a combination of all the stories and references we have that makes it easy to be funny to each other.
Right. Right.
It's like we don't have to work very hard.
Right. Which was, and for me as well, even though I was in the same town, was an interesting shift. But the backside of that, which you briefly mentioned, was the picking up where you left off, which is where we can go due to variety of our different schedules. 3 months may go by before we get to see each other or have see each other. It could be 6 or 8 months, but 3 months could go by before we have a good phone or Skype convo.
Yeah.
And it's like after we check off the things that have changed within a few minutes, then the rest is like nothing has changed.
Yeah.
And we pick up where we left off.
Yeah.
With the jokes, with the stories, with the ribbing each other, with the giving a hard time, giving a good time, thinking about old memories and how to make new ones.
Yeah.
Driving each other crazy,
Yeah.
making fun of each other in the best way possible.
Yeah.
That kind of thing just doesn't change.
Yeah.
And I think that's a testament to our childhood, and not everyone has that. No matter how many siblings you have, or if you're an only child, not everybody has that privilege of, I think, of that blessing of having siblings where you can just always have each other's back, no matter where you are around the country.
Yeah.
And pick up where you've left off at the drop of a hat.
I totally agree. Yeah, I feel like it probably is rare, but there's that weird uniqueness to like you can only know your own experience. And so like people talk about their relationships with their siblings and stuff, and it's so normal to them, but I'm like, that's so weird. But then I'm like, well, if I said anything, even the smallest thing about our sibling relationship, I'm sure that people would be like, yeah, that's weird.
That's so crazy. Yeah.
What would you say your verdict is on brothers? Guilty or not guilty?
My dissertation on brothers.
Yeah.
Always guilty.
Yeah.
I've never met a pair that are innocent.
Yeah.
However, on the subject of brothers as a whole, I'd say just like anything, it's different for every group of brothers versus sisters. 2 sisters, 2 brothers, a brother, a sister, 10 of one, 12 of another, whatever.
Yeah.
Brothers win.
Yeah.
Because you have someone that you grew up with, you experience life with, someone maybe older, younger, your same age. You're either blazing the trail as the oldest child, like myself.
Right.
You're welcome. Or you're following through and getting away with whatever you can, like the youngest child, like our youngest brother, Judah.
Yeah.
He's welcome.
Yeah.
And
you owe us big time, Judah.
Yeah, I always picked Judah. Always first picked. But I'd say yes. I'd say pro for brothers.
Yeah.
I'd vote yay.
Yeah, me too. If I could do it again, and if our parents actually asked us this time about our opinions of the situations that we wanted to grow up in, I would choose brothers, I think.
I think so. Yeah.
That's good to know, especially after all these years,
What if I had said no and just like walked out and
Yeah.
dropped the mic on the table?
Like, dang it, wow, I had a version of how this was going to go in my mind, and it didn't do that.
I almost had brothers. Gosh.
Well, that is all the time we have. In fact, we had a lot of extra material that won't make it in, but maybe we can release that in some sort of bonus thing at some point, which would be nice. But it's just nice to have. Caleb, thanks so much for being on the show and for being part 2 of our 3-part series, possibly our only series that we ever do. But thanks for coming.
Thanks, Josh. I think all I'd have to say is without the 3 Ps, there is no pod.
Wow.
And for more on interesting topics for your life, please tune in on Facebook, and
you can email us ideas at podcastforyourlife@gmail.com.
And listen and go back and don't just check out these last 2 episode series of brothers if you have brothers. If you don't have brothers and you're offended by these last 2 episodes, I'm sorry. Go back and start from the beginning and check them out and keep up with the podcast for your life. For your life.
Yeah. There we go. I couldn't have said it better myself.
Thanks for having me today, Joshua.
Of course. Thanks for listening, guys.